Hello, everyone. Welcome. Writing our stories of color. I'm actually quite excited by this webinar and seeing what's going to come up for everyone. So, my name is Bindi Shah, for those who don't know me. I'm a meditation guide and a writer. I hold weekly meditation classes for childless not by choice women and Right to Heal workshops. And I'm really excited because I'm going to start bringing meditation sessions for women of color. So I feel it's a space that is needed, I know for me, and I'm sure for many of you. And I'm really excited to bring that from next month. Okay, right. So I'm going to I'll let you know a little bit more about me. And then what we're going to do is I have some prompts for our writing, and I do all of the writing through meditation, first of all. So we're going to be doing a little meditation, a little calm, which I actually feel is quite nice for the Tuesday of World Childless Week. So yesterday was very much, a lot of excitement and also a lot of raw, beautiful stories being told, being read. And there's a lot of emotion there as well, isn't there? So I think a little bit of calm, a little bit of meditation to kind of get us into the next day of World Childless Week. And then, yeah, some writing. So let me tell you a little bit about my childless journey then. So my childless journey is very, very layered, and that layer aspect helps with the writing as well. So I want you to see when I'm saying about my journey, what your journey also is about. And then we will come to more of that later on, but kind of just having a little think as well for yourselves. So first of all, I had a lot of non-committal relationships which didn't go anywhere, which weren't, um, appropriate, let's say, to hold in that kind of family and children aspect. Then when I did find a partner, I had a lot of health issues with adenomyosis. So if those of you who know what adenomyosis is, it's when you have fibroids or tumors in the muscle wall lining of the uterus. So leading to very heavy period pains, very heavy periods, not really having proper cycles. So we all need cycles, don't we, for our fertility to be as strong as possible. And I did not have that. And then the final part of the whole circle of these layers was the adoption process. So trying adoption and it not progressing, didn't progress. So we did a little bit, didn't progress. And that was at the point where I knew that, okay, this is it. um, I am going to be childless not by choice. And then with that childless not by choice aspect, that's when the healing started, the writing started, all of it really started for me. I have been meditating and I've been teaching meditation for over 20 years now. So that part of me was strong with the meditation. The writing has also been along the way, and we'll talk a little bit about that when we do the prompts. Um, but really, when you come to something which is really important to you and it doesn't happen and your world crumbles, then this is when you reach in and really get what you need with your healing, which is exactly what I did then with the writing and with my writing as an aspect of healing. Okay, so is everyone ready to do a little bit of meditation? It will be really short. I'll guide you inwards. I'll just guide you, calm you, and ground you, and then we can move on to the prompts of writing. If there are any questions in between, please let me know. If you want to say anything in chat, please also do so. Okay, so getting comfortable first of all. So wherever you are, wherever you're sitting, Close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, you are moving inwards. You're moving into your internal world, moving into yourself, and that is where all of the insights are within you. Start settling into your thoughts. So the thoughts perhaps of what has been said so far here. Maybe the thoughts around what you've been doing. What have you been doing today? The last few days, thoughts around all of that. Settling into them, knowing that it's okay to have thoughts. Thoughts are very, very normal. And then settling into your emotions, your emotional self. How are you feeling? What's going on inside of you? And know that having emotions, again, is very, very normal and it's what happens. And having difficult emotions is also okay. So by the difficult emotions, I mean the difficult emotions to process, like the anger, like the regret, like the guilt. The difficult emotions to hold, to feel inside of you, to process. And it's really easy to dismiss these emotions, to ignore them. But instead of ignoring them, allowing yourself to validate them and also to realize what are they showing you. So yes, if there is anger inside of you, what is it indicating? What's not going right for you at the moment, which is why the anger is there? And then moving into your breathing, breathing in, breathing out, in through the nose, out through the nose or the mouth, breathing. Listening to your breath. Let's start exploring the parts of you which need to be heard. The parts which may not have been heard as much as you would want to as you've moved through your journey of childlessness. What parts of your identity were not fully appreciated as you moved through childlessness? How were you impacted by the color of your skin within institutions of health, of fertility, of social services? How did the people who were there, the people who were there to help you, how did they see you? Or how did you feel you were seen? And as you move inwards, as we move inwards to reach in, to gain that wisdom, to gain the insights, bring deep gentleness to yourself. Yes, childlessness is a layered, difficult journey of life. It is not where you want it to be, but healing this journey, this path, will allow you some ease. How are you seen as a person without children in your family? How are you seen by the wider community that you're part of? Your extended family, your faith community. How do you see your faith now? Do you see it differently now that you're childless not by choice? Are there aspects of your faith which you do not identify with anymore? What else was impacted by your identity, by the color of your skin? Did you delay parenthood? Did you find it difficult to find a partner? Were you looking for someone with a similar background to you? Are you someone of color within the Western world? How has that impacted your identity? Have you always tried to fit in? Have you always tried to belong? And how has all of this impacted your childless journey? Allow your thoughts, allow your reflections, allow your insights. Allow them to come to the surface, ready for your writing. And also allow in that gentleness. There may be things coming up from years and years past. Allow yourself the gentleness. And as you bring in things, we're also going to allow in a little bit of grounding. So moving your focus, your attention down the body, down from wherever you are to the physical ground. So you're imagining the energy moving down, moving to the ground, connecting with the earth and with nature. And this is your grounding. And we do this so whenever we go inwards, it's important to also remind ourselves that we are here, that we are in this present moment. And that's important. So we're grounded. We're grounded in this moment. Feel that connection with the earth. And as you ground with the earth, allow yourself to gently move back to your breath, breathing in, breathing out. Gently back to your emotions, reminding yourself that all of your emotions are valid, all of them. Yes, things have gone on which you wouldn't have wanted, but you are here now and you're healing and you're moving through, and we're all moving through together. And then when you feel grounded, when you feel ready, open your eyes. So it may be that when you went inwards, things have already come out. And if they have, please feel free to mute me, put the sound down, and carry on with your writing, or start your writing with thoughts coming through. So often, when we're quiet and when we're inwards, that's when the reflections can come through because we are not distracted by everyday life and things that we're doing. So if that's happening for you, please do start writing, start your reflections, start your insights. And I am going to have some prompts. So let me know in the chat how you're doing. Is everyone back? How was that? I am going to share the screen so that we can get to the prompts. Wonderful. Okay, very relaxing. Lovely, 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 lovely. Right, if you don't, oh, almost falling asleep. Good. That's good for your healing. Yay. If you don't already have your notebook, your pen, or the computer document ready, please do that. Okay, let me actually do a large screen. Oh, yes, I can see the chat. Good. I was going to think I couldn't see the chat. Okay, you can all see that. I'm hoping. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Let me get rid of that chat. Right, so let's write our stories of color, exploring your identity, heritage, culture, and what this has meant for you in your childless journey. So I feel with childlessness, we have that extra layer. So a lot of people in the childless community have the extra layer. um, different aspects. So, for example, single and childless is an aspect. Being male and childless is an aspect. And I feel for us, this a people of color, that's also a different aspect, or it gives a little bit more of a layered feel to the childlessness. So let's start with number one then. Your childlessness journey. What parts were impacted by being a person of color? Now, when I think about this, obviously, if you are a person of color, you don't know what it's like to not be a person of color. That's your identity, that's who you are. So you go with what has gone on with your journey, and certain parts of your journey may be very similar, whatever race we are, whatever color we are, there's similar parts, but certain parts may have been different. So I want you to think about those and think about, okay, did things happen that perhaps wouldn't have happened if I wasn't a person of color? And also knowing that you're not going to 100% know, but there will be parts, where you think, oh yeah, well, maybe that wouldn't have happened if yes, if I wasn't my identity. So I'm going to give an example from one of my parts from the adoption process. So in the adoption process, I was asked why my brother had an English name. And I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been asked this if I had been white British. But with my Indian heritage British, I was asked that. And so, and also it is also an Indian heritage name. It's not only an English name. But things like that. So what kind of parts were impacted by being a person of color that you can think of and that come immediately to mind? And with that, we will be going more towards that with all of the prompts, okay? But this is just kind of like a little bit of a, okay, like a start into it. I had another part to this as well. So when I talk about the childlessness journey, I actually am thinking about it also when you've moved on a bit. So not necessarily only the grief part of your journey when things went on for you. So, for example, if you had gone through IVF treatments and it hadn't worked out, that would be part of your childless journey. But I actually feel that our journey of childlessness is now as well. So even when we're away a little bit from the grief, or we've finished parts of the trying journey, should we call it that? Maybe the trying part of it. We're still here. We're still childless. We're still in a situation which is not necessarily where we had wanted to be. And what happens from now? So, what happens now? What is your childless journey at the moment? So I want to share, and I'm really sorry about I have some allergy issues going on, so I'm sorry about that if that's disturbing for anyone. Um, so what I want to say about that with myself is now that I'm starting to do my writing and I'm starting to be more like, yes, I'm a writer. I'm doing my writing, I'm doing my poetry. One of my insights that came in for me was during school. So that can definitely happen as a woman of color, or a person of color when the whole of your life has been a little bit different, let's say, or there have there has been discrimination or there has been prejudice against you. So one of the things that in the last few years, I would say maybe in the last 7 years, 6 years, has really come up for me is so this is when I was 11, without even, and when I moved into my secondary school. So I was in a different school to what I had been pre-11. So for those who don't know the English system, I was from primary to secondary school, and I was without any tests or anything like that. I was sent into an English remedial class. And within half an hour of being into that class, I was sent back again into my normal class. So that was interesting for me. And I hadn't necessarily thought about that until I had realized around my healing and the writing and what I wanted to do. And I had some blocks around my writing. And I was like, why? Why am I having blocks? I love writing. And then that came to me, just that little kind of glimpse of that younger part of me being told that she wasn't good enough. She couldn't write. She couldn't read. And obviously she could, but being told that because of the color of her skin, like, oh, well, you need to go into this department, you need to go here. You can't be with everybody else. So that kind of thing, I'm thinking if anything like that has possibly impacted you from before, so from previous to your childless journey. I was 11, but also will affect you now, perhaps, or moving into the rest of your childless journey. So, what do you want to do from now? What's your purpose in life? Are things perhaps holding you back from doing that? Um, Around maybe discrimination or prejudice that you had from before? Yes, that assumption, that assumption out of nowhere. And interestingly enough, when I was in primary school, so when I was younger, I used to read in church and things. So, I was possibly one of the best readers in the class and, always told like, oh, well, you can do the reading. You can do the kind of like public speaking part. Yeah, it was very, very interesting for me. And it was interesting that it came back for me. I think that was the thing where, I was thinking, right, what is my purpose now? What am I going to move into? And then that memory coming back and kind of haunting me a bit and telling me that, well, no, okay, you don't have a child, so you're already feeling not good enough. And now this other memory's come up to make you feel that you're not good enough again. Okay, so are you writing? Hopefully, there is a little bit of writing going on. I'm going to carry on with all of the prompts, so I will carry on talking and sharing, and and hopefully in between there might be little kind of nuggets that you might start bringing your writing. And feel free to mute me whenever you need to. This is being recorded, so you can come back to it at any time. Prompt 2 then. What was your interaction like within organizations? So, organizations such as health services, fertility clinics, what other organizations were you involved with, and how did they respond to you? So, it's well documented. I don't know if it's well documented worldwide, but definitely here, definitely in the US. So I'm in the UK, that a lot of organizations or institutions have an unconscious bias within them, within these kind of bigger institutions and organizations. So, what was your involvement like within them? How did you feel seen? How did you feel heard? How did you feel that people responded to you? Um, yeah, what went on? Or was it that your identity, your heritage, your culture, your faith impacted in some way? And again, we are all very, very aware that all of us have been impacted by all of these services and organizations. That's possibly why you are childless not by choice, because of the response and because of that involvement. But perhaps there is another layer to it by being a person of color. Perhaps. Maybe something someone said to you along the way, something that you saw. So that assumption that we were talking about with the teacher, I guess, when I was younger with the remedial class. So, what other assumptions perhaps were there along the way with your interactions? Is everyone writing? Let me know. Let me know how you are as well. I'm going to go on to the third one, if I can. Um, oh, there we go. It's something. Okay, so number 3. So number 3 is if you live or were born or both in the Western world. So are you a person of color who was born or lives in the Western world? Now, this is a really big prompt, and it's one I think of a lot, actually. I do a lot of work on myself around this. So the work on or coming to terms with, let's say, colonization, belonging, how we belong in the Western world, the cultural ties, the non-cultural ties. How has all of this impacted your identity? How has it impacted your sense of belonging? Do you feel that you belong entirely in the country of your birth, the country that you live in? Has being in the country of your birth brought you closer to your culture, or has it taken you away from your culture? It's a lot, right? There's a lot there. So I have, yeah, I've done a lot of writing around this aspect, and I'm going to share actually a poem that I wrote when I was 17. So again, that kind of discrimination or how long things have stayed is a big thing. So even though I'm 51 now, there's still that part of me which has faced discrimination from before, that 11-year-old, and now the 17-year-old. So those things still hang on within us. And yes, we write about them. Yes, we heal. Yes, we move forward, definitely. But also there's aspects there which are still there and are a part of you and a part of who you are living here. So for me, it's living in the UK and everything that means, everything good and everything perhaps not so good or perhaps more thoughtful, let's say. So, thoughtful as a person of color. Let me share this poem with you. It's called I Don't Belong Here. They came to our countries and took them over, into our homes, into our lives, and ran them. Now we're here in this better country, living as them, learning as them, but we're not one of them. I want to go home to where I belong, where there are no barriers because of race, where everyone is the same, one. So those are just some of my thoughts as a young 17-year-old. But I feel that colonization piece, that piece of how our lives have been uprooted in some way. So my grandparents were born in India, which was British India at the time of their birth. And they moved then to Kenya, which was British Kenya. My parents were born in British Kenya. And then they came over here. My mum was working, my dad came to study, and I was born here. And I call myself British, I call myself English as well. And it's that identity of yourself in a place where maybe people in that place might not necessarily see you as totally being of there. And how does that impact you? How has that impacted your journey of childlessness? And how has it impacted you in general with your identity? Any thoughts on that? That's quite, oh, I've gone on to the next screen. That's quite a lot. Any thoughts so far? How's everyone feeling? I know there's a lot when you go inwards and when we start to think about ourselves in this way, it can bring up a lot. So have people already done work like this on themselves? Is this something new, completely new for you? Let me know. And then we can move on to the next prompt. And then if you have thoughts about that, let me know and I'll come back. So someone says, I've spent a lot of time on myself. So that is that time thinking about these things. I mean, there's so much there, right? Yeah. Reconciled. Yeah. Yeah. We have to. We have to in order to carry on, don't we? And to kind of bring, yeah, all the pieces, bring everything together and then be the whole of us. Um, and I love to equate it as well with childlessness, because with childlessness as well, pieces of us go and we're broken, and then we bring things back and we embrace the whole of us. So this is exactly what we're doing with another identity part of ourselves. Yeah, I like that. Reshaping. Okay, should we go to number 4? How are you seen as a person without children in your family or in your community? So, community could be cultural community, faith community. It could also be the community of where you live. So, your town, your village, your city. But I really like the extended family part. I feel, yeah, I feel as a person of color, or for me anyway, there is that extended family part of the cousins, the aunts and uncles, that kind of feeling. So my parents were from bigger families. Um, and so there's lots of aunts and uncles and cousins. And how am I seen as a person without children within this type of family when going to family gatherings maybe brings a lot of different ages and a lot of different children? So how are you seen as a person? Or again, I kind of always have to come back to how are you seen? Or when I say how are you seen, it's really how you feel that you're seen, unless someone has said something to you. So if someone has said something to you outwardly, then yes, let me know in chat. But usually it's how we feel that we are seen. Okay. And that's important as well, because when we do writing and when we do this kind of writing, inward writing, writing to heal ourselves, then it's also really important to know that our voice, our inner voice, that voice within us is really, really important. So please don't ignore that. So, for example, if nobody has said anything to you, but you still see yourself as different within your family, then that is still important and it is still worth your while exploring this and writing about it. Okay, so I'm going to connect with the chat. So someone has said, I have carved my own niche, but it took many years and the years of alienation. And someone else has said it can be quite isolating, especially in large family gatherings. Yes, the large ones, when there are a lot of people, a lot of different ages. I was at a family gathering, a birthday recently, and it was all about the little children. It was all about the little children, which is nice and which is good. And in a way, kind of is how it it perhaps should be, or it could be. But again, it was very isolating because I didn't necessarily have anything really to add to all of that, to either add to those little additions or add to the conversation. So, yeah, definitely isolating. Does anyone else have any thoughts that they would like to share? I'm going to go to the next one. And are you writing? Or I kind of find maybe what's going to happen is after we've done this session, you'll start writing. So then I will want you to, to let me know, to contact me to let me know. Okay, right. 2 more prompts. Number 5, did you delay parenthood? Were you focused on your career Maybe were you focused on your career as a way of feeling that you belonged in society? So if you are living or were born in the Western world, was it a way of feeling that you belonged here, that you were going to maybe go to university, get your degree, get your good job, focus on your career, and then that delayed your parenthood? Did you find it difficult to find a partner? I think this is a big one. I know it was a big one for me. Were you looking for someone with a similar cultural background to you? So with me, it was a little bit different in that when I started to date, I didn't actually think about it. So I didn't think about what color the person was, what background, what faith. I'm not a religious person, so I'm more all embracing of all religions. I don't necessarily have, oh, we can get to that when we do the religious one, but um, so I wasn't necessarily looking for someone of my faith or my culture. And I was dating. And then what kept happening, as I had said right at the start, was this kind of non-committal nature of relationships, which means men not committing, basically. So dating for a little while and then leaving, or dating for a long while and then not committing. So yes, you kind of spend years in relationships, months or years, and it's not doesn't go anywhere. So that again delays your parenthood. Um, and at some point along the way, I started to look for someone with a similar cultural background, which then did work a bit better. So, were you the same? Did you realize that that's what you were looking for, or did you start looking for that or not? Because really, love can be found everywhere, of course, and anywhere. But did that delay it maybe? So, finding a partner delay it. Maybe finding someone more similar to you delay it. Where were all these delays happening? And perhaps with it, the naivety that I feel a lot of us within the childless not by choice community have, and actually wider society not educating girls, young women, and women enough around fertility and the delay in, wanting it all, doing other things, and realizing that actually, yes, there there is something to be said with your fertility, and it does go off as you age. And I feel that education around that would be so, so good. Okay, let me get back to oh, I wanted to get back to the chat. I can't find it now. Once you share screen, it's so difficult to find anything. There we go. I've got it. Um, oh, yes. Okay. So someone has said career for financial security, not marriage, of course. So in, let's say, times past, it would have perhaps been the marriage, right? Especially for women, of course, marriage was going to give that security. And then finding that for yourself, how important is that as we move through this, the new ages for us women? Um, yeah, yeah. So, that kind of financial security, the oh, that's interesting. So, someone said I didn't want someone Asian because of the sexism. Maybe that traditional thoughts of some people, perhaps. Yeah, I hadn't actually thought of that, but yeah, that could be. And that's the other thing as well, isn't it? When we write, when we have our stories, it's always our truth. It's always what we have seen, what we've seen in the world, what we've seen within our own families, our own communities. And someone has said also that, um, yeah, that domestic violence was tolerated. So yes, of course, when things like that have gone on, you're not going to think about, oh, I'm going to get married or have this partnership or anything like that because there's so many things which have gone on. Also, when you write, there are those, so when you're writing and you're going within, there will also be things coming out which have been really, really difficult for you. So I'm thinking around that domestic violence aspect that I've just mentioned. All of these difficult things which have gone on can so help you with your healing when you write about them. When you write about them, they can help you so, so much. And I really want you to, to know that. So, yeah, I'm wondering whether to share another poem or not around that. So and I hope, so if anybody is really triggered or it's really difficult to think about these topics, I want you to know that I'm with you, with you there, and to be gentle is going to be the most important thing, but also allowing it out of you, allowing it to be spoken out, allowing it to be written is also going to be so, so healing for you. Okay, I'm going to read another poem. And another thing around writing that I want to tell you about is when you do personal writing and deep writing, perhaps around being a person of color, perhaps other aspects of your childlessness, other really difficult things, I recommend, and what I found really helped me was writing under a pen name, a pseudonym. So no one has to know that it's you. You can write, you can even publish, you can have those words out there and no one needs to know it's you. And let's come back to World Childless Week, why we are all here. Within World Childless Week, you can submit your submissions as anonymous pen names. And I just think that's such a gift that Stephanie has given us to do that because, it allows that healing out. Okay. Yeah, let me share it. I have never shared this poem in public before. So let me share it. Let's heal together. His pain, my pain. The metal mesh stung my skin as you pushed me against the fence. I drew in breath. Keep calm, keep calm. The blows came and went. So that was my experience within, yes, a domestic violence situation, which I came out of. I say that because I am married now, but also that feeling that it can happen. It can happen. It happens all the time. We see it all the time, right? And also knowing that you are strong enough to come out and to come through and to move through totally. Okay, right. Let me go back into chat and then we'll go to the last one and then we're nearly done. So someone has said, extra personal resources put into career due to color at the expense of personal life. Yes, delayed marriage, delayed pregnancy, parenthood. Yes, definitely, definitely. I feel it's one of the ways that we are seen that we are in society or that we have integrated and that we're normal as well, the career aspect. So yeah, and then things get delayed. But also remember what we had said before about that financial aspect and perhaps having it as the financial security. So then we're not reliant on finding a partner or reliant on a marriage that might not be what we would want it to be. Yeah. Women don't prioritize their safety enough, in my opinion. Yes. Yes, it's a difficult thing. Yeah. Okay, last prompt, last prompt. How are you all doing? Okay, if you are religious, how do you see your faith now? Has childlessness strengthened your faith, or have you come away from your faith since the realization of childlessness? So, what thoughts around that? So, definitely, I feel that it can strengthen. You can find a deeper connection with God in that something big has happened to you. So, whenever anything big happens to people, they do find more comfort in God, in faith, in rituals. So, I guess with mine, it's not necessarily particularly religious, but um my strengthening was around nature. So in a way, that was like my faith was nature. And I looked at nature more. I brought nature more in to myself. And that was kind of that strengthening for me. Have you come away from your faith since the realization? So has it been a lot of religions, yes, have um, the guidelines or the rules or the commandments, that kind of thing. So has that thing actually brought you away, since the realization of childlessness? Have people said things to you in faith communities, maybe? Or has it been the kind of thing which I really dislike this phrase. Everything happens for a reason. Like, oh, it's God's will or it's God's way and it's happened. And, I think, yes, okay, there can be a deeper meaning and deeper indication of things and all of that. But also, how does that make you feel when you're going through the grief and right at that time, right? Or has your faith helped you through, has it helped you through um your grief? Has it helped you through accepting? Um yeah, okay. So someone says I'm spiritual. Yes, not faith oriented. Yes, similar to me, definitely. Um Yeah, karma. It was my karma. I heard a lot. Yeah, it's your fate or it's your karma. What did you do? What did you do in a previous life, to get to this situation? I mean, there's so many judgments, right? There can be. And again, bringing it back to ourselves, I want you to bring it back to your truth, right? Because maybe your truth is that you found you found religion again, perhaps, or you found your faith again. You know, the beauty in the rituals, right? The rituals. I mean, I still have rituals that I do. So the journaling is my ritual, the meditation is my ritual, but prayer work is also a ritual. So it might be that, there's a lot of that going on. Yeah, it's been an interesting relationship with my faith, ups and downs. This is what someone's saying in chat, and have now become more spiritual. And someone else has said, I was told I was such a bad person. Yeah, yeah, I can believe that because there is that judgment thing that some people will bring into that. And it's not necessarily God who's judging, right? Or the higher whatever that higher is for you, but it can be people within those religions and faiths. Okay, let me stop sharing now. I hope that you managed to get to all of those. And as it's recorded, all of the prompts will be on the recording as well. So, you can go back to them. You can bring up more and more of your writing from that. I think we perhaps discussed more, right, this session. Or did someone start writing something and, there's time for writing afterwards, as I said. How's everyone doing? There haven't been any questions as such. So if you do have any questions, please bring them into the Q&A, into the chat, whatever you want to do. How do you feel now about starting this writing now then? So whether you are continuing writing around being a person of color or whether this is something new for you that you're going to start, how do you feel about it? Do you feel curious? Do you feel excited? Do you feel, yes, I want to? Do you feel nervous? How do you feel about it? Yes, someone has said, I found writing healing over the years. Me too. Yeah, totally, totally, totally. And it is so healing. I hope that everything that I have said has landed in a good way for all of you. I hope that if anything I've said has triggered anything within you, that you can remind yourself of gentleness. I'm always all about the gentle. So, after this session, take yourself away, go and have a cup of tea, relax a little bit, go out in nature, and then come back to it. But yeah, I hope that it's helped in some way and that it's been a little bit of a healing for you. Right, I'm ready for Steph to come back if you want to, Steph. I'm not sure if you want to or not. Otherwise, I'm good as well. Whatever.